Fights, transformations, villains, stakes. Long ago, action cartoons used to be absolutely peak. Until the Bean Mouth attacked. When I was a kid, I found a little boy called Goku. And I believe that Goku will save the world. In 2013, Hollywood officially gave up on teenage boys. They didn't say it out loud, but the spreadsheets did. And the cancelled shows and dumb reboots did it too. Battle Shonen didn't take over by accident. It took over because Hollywood made a mistake. And a costly one at that. Cartoons didn't just change. They stopped giving a certain audience something they were addicted to. And once that happened, something big shifted. There was a time when action cartoons actually owned that lane. They understood that kids, especially boys, wanted more than just random comedy and bright colors. They wanted powers, rivalries, charismatic villains, stories that felt like they mattered. They gave young viewers a version of fantasy and action that felt aspirational. For a while, cartoons really gave that to them. Then, the industry slowly started dropping the ball. And the main reason most of your beloved shows got dropped is going to piss you off. Toys. Yep, toys. A lot of action cartoons lived and died by toy economics. That's not a conspiracy theory, it's just how the business worked. Shows could be loved and still get cuts if the merch underperformed. Young Justice and Teen Titans are some of the saddest examples of shows with high ratings that got scrapped simply because of toy sales. And don't get it twisted, Shonen sells toys, massive amounts of them. Anime isn't a charity, but there's a fundamental structural difference in how the business treats the arts. In the West, a show was often treated as a 22-minute commercial for a plastic action figure.
Teen Titans battling machines each sold separately from Bandai.
If a specific toy didn't fly off the shelves at Target, then the story was considered a failure, regardless of how many millions were actually watching. In Japan, the show is usually an extension of the manga. The story is the product. The high-end action figures, the trading cards, that's icing on the cake. Shonen uses merchandise to fuel the fire, and for Hollywood, it was the fire. When you kill a show just because a plastic mold didn't sell, it means your priorities lie less in the story department, and it shows. The networks absolutely knew there was a boy audience for this stuff. Disney literally repositioned Toon Disney into Disney XD to chase boys 9 to 14. This was not some hidden demographic nobody could identify. And yet, over time, trends in Western TV animation shifted. There was less commitment to long-form action, more comedy-first shows, more quirky, ironic, self-aware energy, and stuff that was aimed younger, broader, or just a completely different vibe. So let's stop pretending that shift didn't happen. They justified this by saying those audiences were moving on to things like video games. Yes, they acted like that audience had just moved on, but they hadn't. Those kids didn't vanish. The industry just stopped building for them. Once the industry starts thinking that way, the kid who wants scale, mythology, and power and growth starts getting squeezed out. And it left a void. And Battle Shonen stepped into it perfectly. They understood something Western cartoons slowly stopped treating as essential. Young audiences will obsess over long-form action if you keep delivering it, not just one cool setup. The entire thing, where the character starts weak and grows, gets a rival, hits some obstacles, comes back stronger, keeps climbing. They love that stuff. And Shonen never got embarrassed by it. It never got embarrassed by the rule of cool. Naruto was literally ninjas with powers, edgy rivals, giant summons, eye powers, and a world that treated all that seriously. Dragon Ball built itself on escalation and spectacle, jacked men who screamed as they fought to the death.
I will not let you destroy my world!
Bleach did the same thing with swords, fashion, transformations. These shows understood something action cartoons slowly started forgetting. Young audiences love stories that let cool be huge and sincere. And the thing is, action cartoons and battle shonens were not the exact same thing. Action cartoons were usually tighter and more restrained. They had their own tone, their own flavor, because they were completely different culture. They had their own pacing and their own kind of cool.
It's hero time!
Shonen was longer, more obsessed with escalation, more exaggerated, and had their own tropes and cliches. So this wasn't just anime doing the exact same thing but better. It was anime just feeding a similar hunger. It's kinda sad because action cartoon really had its charm. If you're already the kind of kid who loved action cartoons, well, anime didn't feel like some random new obsession. It felt familiar to you. And it felt like the one place that still took your tastes seriously. That's why so many people moved from action cartoons to shonen without even fully deeping it. Because it's not like they were abandoning one interest in discovering a new thing. They were just following the same hunger to a place it was still alive. It gave that audience more of what they were already looking for, right when cartoons were becoming less reliable at supplying it. It's kind of embarrassing too because anime didn't just get popular in some vague cultural sense. It became an industrial monster. The overseas market is now so big that it's overtaking Japan's own domestic market. Just a few years ago, even Netflix said that anime was pulling billions of views. That's insane. And that proves all the excuses about older boys not being profitable was simply untrue. The West was sitting on a literal gold mine and just gave up on it. And I know I'll see some people comment, there are still good action shows. But let's be honest, we've reached a point where Western animation thinks you're either a toddler who needs a moral lesson or a grown-up who needs gore and cursing. There is no middle ground, especially for boys. There is no bridge. Shonen is that bridge. The point is that battle shonen became the dominant whole for a style of storytelling that action cartoons used to represent. And once Western animation weakened that lane through toy-driven fragility, younger skewing, and a broader shift away from committed action fantasy, shonen was perfectly positioned to absorb the people left behind. And that's why anime didn't just grow. It inherited an audience. It was the loss of animated stories that made teenage boys feel like their obsession with power, rivalry, scale, and coolness was actually being taken seriously. Cartoons used to give a lot of people that feeling. Then they started giving it less. Anime didn't. And once battle shonen became the place where that feeling still lived, it stopped being that weird Japanese thing and became the thing a generation grew up on.